kitchen and the family because they were not educated or anything. So they couldn't do any jobs outside. But Manu was told to start doing something. So she started to learn typing and shorthand along with Khorshid, Eret's wife. So they both, Papa called one typing tutor. He had a typing class, but he was specially called here and we would give typing instructions. And so they were learning this quite in earnest. And eventually Khorshid got a job in some company as a stenotypist and would earn some income and help the family. But Manu, being a little timid in nature, just did a little typing and then she forgot all about it. Helped mostly in the kitchen. Yeah. And I, of course, continued with my college. It was, I think, my second year in college. Yeah.
Which college were you at?
Navroz Jiwadia College, near the railway station. Yeah. So that was it. And then Baba, of course, travelled from Belgaum to the north of India. He was there for quite some time. And then, of course, we have heard later on how he went to this Kumbh Mela in Haridwar and the difficulties that they had to face every day, trudging miles and miles. There was a place called Motichur, I think, where Baba and 3 or 4 of the Mandli would come every day, every night to take rest and then go back to Haridwar. So a walk of about 12 or 13 miles each day. Yeah. To reach the place, and then the whole day Baba bowing down to these innumerable sadhus. So that was the time Baba really hurt his neck also. The amount of physical exertion that Baba did was really tremendous.
One thing that has struck me about this sort of thing in the new life, and the new life as a whole, as I've gotten a little older, is that Baba was not a young man at this time.
That's right.
I mean, it's one thing to do this when you're 20.
So, in fact, Nilu, Dr. Nilu and Dr. Donkin and all these people would, after the New Life sessions were over and there was some time left, so they would talk among themselves. And I heard my sister say that Nilu said, Baba will not last in this new life, you know. His condition is not like that. So he took Baba, took his health to be not good enough for the rigors of new life.
And this is at the outset.
Yeah. But then Baba, of course, underwent such hardships that even they would fail sometimes, but not Baba. So that's how it was. Yeah, so then, of course, Baba then was undergoing this hardship, attending the Kumbh Mela. And Erech describes us funny incidents about their coming back home and having this daily dal and rice as the staple food. After the whole day's exhausting journey to and fro, and they were getting quite emaciated, you know. So then Baba said, we should have some little fat in our food content. So the tin of oil was bought.
Tin of oil.
Yeah. So this boy who was serving them was an ignorant fellow, and he had never cooked in his life. he was able to do this boiled rice and dal. So when this oil tin was bought, he thought that he would give something good to the Mandli. And one day he boiled dal in oil, thinking that it would be really nutritious. And the dal got really tough in the oil, And I don't know what he did, and he served that dal to them. They ate, and Eraj said that just within 15 minutes after eating that dal, he had such an urge to pass motion, and he relieved himself, and he never had such a big purge in his life.
Well, he discovered an excellent laxative.
Yeah. So that fellow had finished that oil tin in cooking that dal,
One meal.
Yeah. So they got more emaciated. Then Baba said, no, this won't do. The Mandli said, Baba, something must be done. And they got a tin of ghee, pure ghee. So it was carried with great care. I think Nilu was with them or what. And Eraj describes us how one of the Mandli took great care to bring this ghee tin, and then it was given to this boy with instructions not to waste it. And after boiling the rice and all, just to take one spoonful and put it on the rice. Every instruction was given to him. And of course the first day they were all looking forward to this good meal they would have. And they had a good meal. But the next day they were again in the hopes of this. And when they came back, they saw before them just ordinary boiled rice and dal. And they said, what happened to the ghee? And the boy said, it's all gone. And they asked him, what happened? So he said he had left the ghee tin there, and a stray dog came in and just licked up the whole tin.
Oh my.
So Baba didn't want them to have it, And he probably came as in the form of this dog and lapped it up. So these were little incidents Eraj would tell us later on.
Sounds like an utterly grueling existence.
No question. But there were grueling incidents, there were feasts, there were fasts. As Eraj said the other day, it was a life of helplessness, hopelessness, and also a life of authority and command. And people would give command performances to Baba by the way they obeyed, total strangers obeying Baba. A sort of command performance.
Not even knowing who he was, not seeing him.
Not allowed to see him, not allowed to hear his name. That showed Baba's authority.
Yeah. I know, it's always so striking to hear these stories in which someone of the companions is begging for something, and the person agrees to give it, and then the beggar lays down 1,000
conditions.
You can give to me,
And without question, they're accepting these conditions, absurd conditions, one might say. 4 first-class tickets and 20 second-class tickets, and they were not to ask the names. And when the money was offered, no, they had to go and buy the tickets for them. So that is how Baba showed his divinity also, while he was just their companion in the new life.
You would get then circulars from time to time, just where you would find out at least where Baba was.
Yes, some hint of what was going on, but very vague. None of the details which we now know were known to us then.
Were there any arrangement wallas in Pune?
No. Sarosh was there, Merji, Nariman were in Bombay at that time.
I see.
Yeah.
when they would come back from, they were called to Benares, I think, or
A
something.
Padri went to Banaras, I remember.
Padri, right?
This New Life caravan was not ready when Baba left for the New Life.
Uh-huh.
So Baba instructed Padri that as soon as it got ready, it should be brought over. So it got ready when Baba reached Banaras. So I remember Padri having taken this caravan there and handing it over. And he had gone with his camera and everything, but he was given express orders not to take any photographs. And when he came back, he came to Bindraus also, and he said that it was a scene that was impressed indelibly on his mind. Here Baba was leaving Banaras, and this caravan was going there, and the men with the green turbans and the women with their grey saris or something.
And this whole zoo.
And this menagerie, and he said it was a real sight to see the whole procession passing by. And he said if Baba had just not mentioned anything, I would have captured this live on film. What a sight it was, he said. Yeah. So we would get back little anecdotes from people who could see Baba. Of course, Padri was also very distraught because he said no. Probably he was feeling it afterwards, that he
regretting it.
Yeah.
And Erich was gone for you all, and presumably you would never see him again either.
And
how did your father feel about that?
He accepted it, yes. But as I said, the initial shock was very great, and there was great turmoil in his mind and all that.
What had he said when asked to give a yes or no?
I don't think one of the conditions was age. So Baba was quite clever about all that, So he had mentioned the stipulation of age.
I see.
So between this age and this only could say yes. So Papa was out of it.
I see. He was too old to go on something
naturally.
like that,
I think Gani was on the borderline or something.
Right. And Gustaji would have been
probably,
on the border too.
Yeah.
Of course, Baba was the same age as Gani.
I think so,
55 Baba was when it began.
Yes, so until Baba returned again to the south, and I think Baba headed for Satara from Dehradun after a year's stay or something. So it was then that I was going to college on cycle, and I just happened to look in a passing rickshaw, and there was Erich inside.
Really?
As soon as I saw him, I was a little stunned, because I was supposed not to see anybody. I turned my face away, and Erich was also taken aback to see me going. I was cycling to college.
And you had no idea that they were in town?
No idea at all. And then I remember one incident when I was doing some marketing, and I just, with vegetables and all in the sack, just stepped out of the market, and there is a lane behind the market, a narrow lane, and a couple of say 100 yards in front, there was Baba all wrapped up, it was early in the morning, and a few of his mandali probably trying to contact some must there. As soon as I saw Baba, I was so shocked about this because the order was not to see him. So I just turned tail and fled from the scene, as it were.
Did Baba seem to have noticed you there?
No, he was walking. I saw his back, He didn't see me.
And he had the turban on?
No.
Oh, not
the ordinary coat and sadra.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
At that time, that dress regulation had gone, I think.
That was just the earlier time.
This must be, I think, in the 50s, probably. After coming to Satara, he might have come for some must tour or must journey or something. Not knowing Baba was there. The Baba's order was so strict that it became second nature in us to avoid him, as it were. At least for me, I felt that way. It was a violation of order to see him.
What strange twists he produces in the course of life with him.
That's right. So to see him was not a pleasant experience. It was disturbing to us because we were disobeying him, So that was how it was.
Now, in 1950, Baba did step out of the new life for one day.
Do
you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that very well because it was 16th of October 1950, exactly I think a year after Baba entered new life. And unfortunately, 16th of October was my day of an exam. I was one of the people who was to attend, given permission to attend. So, and Baba had mentioned that only if circumstances permit you to come, then you must come. One of the conditions, I think, of attendance was that not to jeopardize your job, not to jeopardize any of your activities, all those conditions were there.
Right.
So my going there was out of the question. But
it must have been disappointing.
Many people like Adi, Sarosh and all these were passing from Nagar, so they would drop down in Bindra House, have their lunch and proceed. So I was sending them off and wishing that I wish there was no exam today. But earlier to that, I must mention that I think in the April of that year, was it, or I'm not sure, April or May, probably, from Baba was, I think, in Mahabaleshwar, and he wanted some change of atmosphere, and so first time we received a message from Baba from the New Life, a telegram or what, to Papa, saying that Baba wants to come to Pune for rest, so try and search a bungalow for him. So then the whole army of Baba lovers swung into action, and all different localities frantically searching for bungalows. And I was also searching, and I happened to locate one nice bungalow near that Film Institute of India, on Prabhat Road. At that time it was a very isolated and quiet place, and there was some new bungalow built there, and it was unoccupied. So I inquired and found out the owner's name and all that, and Adi was helping me. Adi had, by the way, Adi I think had returned from the New Life by then.
Right.
Both Adi and Gani. Yeah. They were sent back.
So you had seen both of them?
Yeah, seen both of them. Gani was staying in Pune, of course, close by. Yeah. So he would visit us, we would visit him, have nice contacts with each other. Yeah. So we were. So Adi liked this place very much, and then Baba sent Teeraj first time, I think, and he also came. And he was allowed to stay in Bindra House, but he had to pay 1 rupee to Papa, for his expenses in Bindra House, food and lodging, not to say stay free there. Yeah, and we had orders not to speak anything to him about old life or any personal things. But Erich could talk about the old new life to us.
Which is probably what you wanted to hear about.
Yeah, I knew.
So at that point you got a lot.
Yeah, a lot of information. I think all these journeys to the north and all, we heard from Erich that time. Yeah.
Wow.
So after that devastating piece, this was a great sort of boost to us in life.
Oh, it must have been.
Yeah.
Unexpected. You really hadn't expected anything like that.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Baba wanted to stay for a month, so we got this place. That owner agreed to give it on rent. It was a new thing he had constructed for himself. So somehow he was persuaded to give it, and we got it on rent, got it furnished and all that. And I remember we went there to give the finishing touches in the early morning, because Baba was to arrive a little later. And while we were tying the mosquito curtain for Baba's bed, we hear a horn, and there was Baba's car turning the corner. We were really flabbergasted, because Baba was in the new life. We are not supposed to see him. So we just dropped everything down there and ran down the stairs. It was on the first floor of the room, I remember. And we just, without looking at the sides or anything, just put our heads down and ran from that place to save our lives.
Did you have to run past where Baba could?
No, there were two gates, and we took the furthest from the place where we saw Baba's car approaching and turned tail and fled as it were. Otherwise it would have spoiled Baba's mood,
Right.
And probably he would have just gone back or something.
Yeah.
But then Baba, it seems, had spotted us running, and he seemed to have sent word not to rush away or something, but we never heard anything. We just disappeared from the scene. Yeah.
So you never saw Baba during that stay at that time?
No. And so Baba stayed there for a week or so, then he suddenly decided to go back. So that stay ended in about a week or 10 days, and he went back. And then this was also at the time of one of my exams. So I couldn't do any preparation, and I didn't pass in that exam. So the college gave grace to, after 6 months, to again appear for the same subjects. And that happened to be 16th October 1950.
That's right, October and April.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 months it seems.
Right.
Yeah. So they give 2 more chances to appear in the subject without having to without being debarred from studying further.
Yeah.
So you could do the other subjects also and appear for the previous one. And 16th October, as I said, was such a hectic day. Although I couldn't attend, I couldn't do my studies again. So again, I couldn't pass in my exam. And
this new life was really creating problems, sir.
But I missed that occasion of attending on 16th October. But later on, we heard how Baba stepped into old life for a day, and this sermon, as you mentioned this morning, was a wonderful sermon. And of course, it was later printed out in a circular, and brief account of the proceedings was sent to all Baba people.
Now, Dr. Ghani had died by that time, hadn't he?
No, I think a little later he died. Yeah.
I remember there was some meeting during the New Life where someone came as a Ghani surrogate.
Really?
Yeah, because Baba was, I think he said it was a setback to his work even, Ghani, something of that sort. But it wasn't then.
I think a little later, or perhaps he might have died.
The next year there was another meeting, I think at the same time, wasn't there?
Next year, 1952?
51. This is 1950.
Yeah, 1951. 1951, Baba came to Pune. Again.
I may have that wrong.
Yeah. There was no meeting. It was still Baba's new life was going on.
Right.
So, but round about that time, Ghani passed away, I remember. We all attended his funeral. He had these 4 daughters and a son. So...
Well, were you starting to get a little bit of a feeling at this stage that there was some hope of contact with Baba after all?
Yeah, once he came back to Satara and all, we started getting frequent contacts, but not direct, always indirect. Yes. And Baba being near Pune, as I said, he wanted to come to Pune for a short stay, and then we would get this chance of searching bungalows for him and all that. And of course, when he came to Pune, then the food would go from Bindra House. So that would be another good occupation for us.
Your mother would have that.
So the whole household would be all worked up to get food ready for Baba. It was a great occasion for us. I had to do the marketing, and the food would be prepared and then sent. So these were the occasions. And then later on, Baba again was in Mahabaleshwar, and I remember it was a phase of very strict seclusion that Baba got into in Mahabaleshwar. It was in Aga Khan's bungalow. And later on, when I went with Heeraj to Mahabaleshwar, he showed me the place and the room where he did the seclusion work. And it was quite a spacious thing. And Baba had a hut built inside the room, I think, if I remember right.
A hut built inside the room?
Something like that was done. And he was in seclusion there. And it was a very, very strenuous seclusion that Baba underwent. So much so that once he actually, if I remember right, somebody recounted, I think Adi or somebody, that Baba was so exhausted that he just came out of seclusion as if wanting to get out of the bounds of illusion. Yes. Baba mentioned something about that. He was so exhausted in the seclusion. And of course, all this exhaustion had its toll on the physical body. And Baba suffered terribly from piles and other discomforts. So, Baidul was there, and he had some piles trouble, and he had consulted some local quack. And he got well, So he told Baba that this fellow is an expert, and Baba, I would recommend him to you. So Baba said, all right, let's see. And that fellow gave some such harsh medicine or something. Baba, it flared up all the more or something. And Baba was in real physical agony.
This was in Mahabaleshwar?
Yeah. It was early 51 or something, 1951. And Baba was in real great pain and great suffering. The universal work apart, the physical repercussions were terrible. And Baba was really emaciated and very, very frail physically. So much so that then again instructions came to us that Baba would want to come to Pune. And did I tell you about Guru Prasad? Did I mention how we got Guru Prasad?
You mentioned finding a bungalow. Was that Guru Prasad?
Guru Prasad bungalow. Did I mention previously?
No. There's been no mention.
So now we get this message that Baba was in seclusion, and I think it was for an extended period of 100 days or what, I don't know. And he is physically exhausted and wants some change of location and want to come to Pune. So we should get a good house for him. Yes, so, I mentioned this to Hoshang Bharucha recently. That's why I was wondering whether I told you.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
Yeah. So, here we are all again frantically out now, searching for a suitable bungalow for Baba. Baba's women mandli and men mandli. Again, it's the time of my exams. Now this time it is final.
Oh, the first two.
Yeah. So my junior graduate level and senior graduate both have to be, I had to appear for both at the same time. If I didn't pass through this, then they would... So, and just then Baba sent this message. So I said, to hell with the studies, I'll see afterwards. And we were all out searching bungalows for Baba. So I remember, and Baba wanted it quickly. So Adi was asked to come from Nagar to help us search a bungalow. And one of the times Adi had a friend in Sachapi street by the name of Jamshed Irani. He was his old school time friend. So whenever Adi would come to Pune, he would go there and stay with him. They were very close friends. They would be school time chums,
Was he a lover of Baba's?
No, he was not a lover. But he was great friends with Adi. Yeah. So they would keep Baba out of there and talk, but otherwise they would be friends. So while he was there, he had respect for Baba. So Adi mentioned to him that he had gone to see him while hunting for the bungalow also. So he happened to mention that he was in search of a good house. So at that time they had a common friend by the name of another Irani. So this Jamshed Irani tells him that, why don't you tell this fellow, he is in this real estate business, so he could help you. So then Adi went to see this man, and this man had a little stammer when he spoke, So he was known as Bobra Irani. Bobra means one who stammers.
Really? They would call him that?
Yeah, Bobra. So he was nicknamed Bobra Irani. So Adi goes to him and they recognize each other. So long lost friends uniting after many years. Then Adi tells him that he had his bungalow in Bun Garden, just opposite the Bun Gardens. It was called Shangri-La. Nice little cottage was there. So we went to see him there in his bungalow. It was a very posh place, a nice little cottage, but very modern furnishing and all that. So his business was to buy up old estates, renovate them, and then sell them off. So he had bought this place where he was staying, and he had renovated nicely and was staying himself there. And he had done it really well. And when we talked to him about this, he said, "Oh, you want a bungalow? Well, I could meet with your requirements. I have just recently renovated a very good place, and since you want it for Meher Baba, I could give it to you."
So there was no prohibition against saying that this was for Meher Baba?
No, at that time there was no prohibition. So I could give this place to you, but I have only one condition. You see, I have already sold the place, and the new people, the new owners will occupy it exactly 1 month from now. So you must vacate this place, whatever happens. No extension. If that is acceptable, then I have no conditions. I'll give you free of rent. So we wanted it exactly for a month. So we thought this was too good to be true. But then we said we would like to see the place. So he says, let's go right now. So he took us in his car, and it was a beautiful bungalow he had prepared. He had renovated recently. And it was in Salisbury Park, which is a very exclusive place in Pune. So, and right on the fringe of the park. So it was beautiful, very secluded, just what Baba wanted. And the way he had furnished it, it was like a dollhouse. Oh. Yeah, the most modern furnishing and beautiful.
So it was completely ready.
And furnished, just to be occupied. Some furnishing touches were being made. So the man said, "I could have given you the keys right now, but some little things are being done. So in 2 or 3 days' time it will be absolutely ready. You come and take the keys from me and I'll give it to you." And Baba was to come in a week's time. So we said, "That's perfect. So, but remember my condition, after 1 month you must vacate. Even if he wants, I won't be able to." So we said, "That's perfectly all right." So from there, we went straight to the telegraph office and sent a telegram to Baba saying that a beautiful house located and ready for occupation and all that. So that, and then we waited for a couple of days, and then we went to this man's place to get hold of the keys, as he had said. So Adi and I went on cycles to his house at Bun Garden, and he had this long driveway. So Adi tells me, "You keep yourself here with my cycle, I'll go inside and fetch the keys. In about 10 minutes I'll be back. You wait outside." I waited outside, and then Adi went in. Then he was there talking to them, and 10 minutes passed, then 15 minutes passed, 20 minutes passed. I was wondering, and I could start hearing loud shouts inside and some heated discussions. And I was wondering, what's happening? Why is Adi not coming? It was getting dark, and suddenly I noticed Adi coming out in a huff, walking very fast. And I said, "Adi, what's up?" He says, "Nothing, let's go out from here. This darned hopeless place here. I wouldn't like to see the man's face again." I said, "What happened?" "Oh, don't ask me, I'm very upset." But I said, "Did he give you the keys?" "No, he just went against his own word, and he has suddenly refused to give." But I said, "But we have informed Baba." Adi says, "Exactly, that's what I told him, that you have given your word." But I said, "What happened?" So then Adi is calming down by then. We are walking along with our cycles, and he says that this man's father happened to visit his son at that time. And the son must have told his father that I met this friend of mine from a long time, and now he's asked for a bungalow, and I'm going to give this for Meher Baba's use. And that man's ears pricked up. He was totally against Baba, the father of this man. And he says, what? You'll give it to that charlatan Meher Baba, who's a slur on our community and this and that. If you do that, I'll not see your face again. And there was a big quarrel between the father and son. But the son said, I've given my word. He says, to hell with your word. Whatever happens, if you give this, I'll stop setting foot in your house. So that man was helpless. Now he had to make a decision about having his father or satisfying his friend. So he decided in favor of his father, unfortunately for him. And so he said, this is my possession. And he told Adi that frankly he was helpless to do anything. And he was very sorry. But howsoever much Adi tried to persuade him, nothing could turn his mind again. So that's when Adi started to shout, and I could hear him outside. So that's what happened inside. And now we were totally nonplussed because approaching Baba's time of coming,
A few days ago.
Yeah. So we straight went to the telegraph office again and sent a telegram that this is what happened. In short, we gave a gist of what happened. And the next day, a reply comes, I am coming on that particular day. See, the bungalow is ready. That's your lookout. Some such thing. A typical Baba wit. You're failing to get that bungalow is not my lookout, or some such thing, So then Adi desperately telephones Sarosh to come over, and we are in a dilemma what to do. Now, while we were searching other bungalows, I was on my own cycling along Bun Garden Road and happened to notice one big unoccupied place. So it had huge doors and a long driveway, and the whole place seemed all shut and unoccupied. So I tried to get in, but the doors were locked, the front gates were locked. So how to get in? Then I just, there were low walls on the sides of the gate. So I climbed on the wall and jumped inside and after locking my bike outside and walked up the driveway and entered there was a big porch and a front marble steps leading up to a huge palace-like structure. And I was a bit nervous as to where I landed myself in. And there was nobody. I started to call out, is there anybody inside? And as I climbed the steps, suddenly a door opens from the side and a man rushes out. And he says, who are you? How dare you come in? He started to shout at me. So I said, look, I have just come to search for a bungalow. He says, is this the way to enter? How did you get into this place, by the way? The gates were locked. How did you come in? So I said, I jumped. He said, you look quite a respectable person, and I don't expect such actions from you. I doubt very much your motive of coming here. You must be having evil intentions of pilfering something. And he insulted me right and left. He says, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you. But I said, I have not come for any evil purpose, I just want some house on rent. Do you think this house is for rent? this is the palace of the Maharani of Baroda. How dare you come in here? You just get out of here. In literally so many words, he almost pushed me out of the place. If you don't go out, I'll call the police and get you arrested. So I just turned tail and fled from there. He says, don't ever step into this place again or you'll be behind bars. And so I went back and dejectedly got on my bike and started in search for other places. Similar place I found somewhere else down on Boat Club Road. Again I tried to enter, nobody was there, and it was all deserted. I went right in, the door was open, I went in, and there was one man bent over some microscope studying something. And I said, excuse me, and he just looked up and he says, who are you? How dare you get in? So I said, I just in search of a house. What are you doing here? What is your occupation? I said, I'm a student in college. You're a respectable person. How dare you get into a place like this without asking permission? But I said there was nobody. I tried to get, but then you shouldn't have entered this place without me. It's a disgrace that such people are like you are there. Get out of this place at once. So I was thrown out again from there. So I had these couple of nasty, insulting knocks. And so we were desperately searching bungalows. And then this bungalow was offered. So it was a great relief. And then again, this man...
It fell through.
Yeah, it fell through. So then we were desperate and Sarosh came, and then he got hold of one bungalow which was on the outskirts of the city, and it was an old bungalow near a tannery. So the bungalow was good, but it was very old and decrepit, not occupied because of that tannery nearby. It had a nasty smell coming out, because of the tanning of hides. Raw hides would be tanned there.
Yeah.
So most nasty stink would come out from that tannery just across the compound.
Yeah.
So probably that must have deterred anybody from occupying that house. But we were desperate for getting a house. So we said, we'll just try to do something. So Sarosh then of course hired a lot of people to renovate the whole place. Carpets were laid down and we got some hired furniture and got the place ready. Then there was another bungalow we got near the race course, a tiny cottage.
So you were renting these several bungalows?
Not renting, that was not rent, it was his friend's house. So they gave it for Baba's use without rent. And then there was another house of another friend, so he also offered it. So we tried to make ready that, thinking that Baba might not like the tannery there. It was really awful.
Yeah.
So we searched this other place also, but it was very small. But that was all we could get in the time that Baba had given.
Yeah.
So we sent the telegram, and Baba then, and we said bungalow ready and gave the address, because Baba was still in New Life. We were not supposed to see him. So the complete address and everything was given so that he could come direct and stay there. And now, while this was going on, the other part is that another Baba disciple named Gadekar was there. And he was also searching for bungalows. And Gadekar happened to go and meet one of his close friends by the name of Sardar Raste. Now Sardars were the old time nobility descended from Shivaji's time. So they were given jagirs, means parcels of land in token of services rendered to royalty. So there were many of these Sardars in Pune. So one of them was Sardar Raste. There was another named Sardar Mudaliar. And so there were many Sardars of old times, from the time of Shivaji and the Peshwas. So they had these huge ancestral properties in the city itself. Yeah. So this man had his own property called Rastewada, the old time palace of the Peshwa time, It's still there, just opposite Pune Center. In fact, the Pune Center land was given as a gift by Sardar Raste later on, yeah. So that's another story apart.
Which side of the center property? Towards the...
In the front. Exactly facing the center. There's this huge building, old structure. Yeah. And adjacent land was given for Baba, free of cost. Prime land, mind you, right in the heart of the city. Yeah, it's priceless now. So Sardar Raste, Gadekar somehow had made friendship with him. And he would talk about Baba, and Sardar Raste had become very interested in Baba. He had never met Baba, of course, then. So then Gadekar happened to mention to Sardar Raste that we are in search of a house for Baba. Baba wants to come and stay there. Probably you might be able to see him, but not for that, but try to help us to get something. So he says, wait a minute, I have a very good place if you will go and have a look. So he says that the Rani of Baroda, when she was small, she had played on my laps, as it were, the child, when she was a child. He was a grown-up man at that age. So she has a very nice bungalow here. And it always is vacant unless some friends of hers come. So it's vacant right now. We can try to get that. So Gadekar comes to me and Adi and says, look, this has happened. Would you want me to try? So we said, of course, let's go and have a look. At that time, this was not yet finalized, the Irani's bungalow. So we were in search of it. So then Sardar Raste fixes an appointment, and we get into his car and we go. And it's the same place from where I was thrown out, unceremoniously. So when we enter now, it's a different welcome I get. That same man who had insulted me, as soon as he hears the car approach, his body curved in a different way, First it was with his chest out, bawling out at me, and now he was bent forward double, almost touching the ground. That is how this used to ceremoniously invite people to these places, the old time royalty. So he bends to the ground and does this sort of salute to Sardar Raste, and then he sees me and I see him. We don't utter a word of what had happened. He keeps quiet and I keep quiet. And then of course he doesn't say anything to me, and we go in, and here is this big palace, fully furnished with chandeliers and deep carpets and fully well furnished and just ready for occupation. So we said, of course, it's a beautiful place, and it had a huge compound all around, and there was a big guest house in the compound, isolated from the main bungalow, ideal for Baba's occupation, So very close to the railway station also. So we said, it's very good. So he says, yes, provided the Rani agrees to give it, I will try to get it. So we had no hopes, of course, because the Rani had never heard of Baba, and we didn't give much thought to this. We thought it was too good to be true. And then we just went away. Now when this bungalow which we got was ready, Baba came. And the day he came, in the morning, a telegram came to Sardar Raste. And of course, after seeing this place, we went back to Raste's house. And Raste and we formed a telegram just saying Avatar Meher Baba wants to come and stay in Pune.
You wouldn't have called him Avatar at that time.
I don't know what, probably not, or Shri Meher Baba or whatever. I don't remember the exact word. But just like this, that Meher Baba is coming and wants to stay in Pune for some time, and could you give this Guru Prasad? It was known as Guru Prasad. So could you give this? And signed by Sardar Raste, as if he is sending that telegram. So this telegram was sent, and then we forgot all about it. So on the day that Baba is to arrive, this reply comes from Rani to Sardar Raste saying that permission granted.
Wow.
Yeah. So Sardar Raste and Gadekar come running in their car to my house there at Bindra House with the telegram. Gadekar is waving the telegram. I was just returning from market with all the market for Baba's food to be sent that day. So he says, Meherwan, I got this telegram. We got the Guru Prasad. So I said, but now Gadekar, it's too late. Baba will be coming, no way to communicate with him. But there's only one way. I'll send this telegram with the food that will be sent, and then let him decide what he wants. But he will be coming and staying in that place which we have made ready. So he said, all right. And then they went off. And I sent that telegram. Some 2 boys were there who would bring the food from Bindra House to that place near that tannery, It was in a locality called Vanori, far away from where we stayed, right on the outskirts of the town. So then in the afternoon we sent this telegram, and what I heard was that after that telegram was read out to Baba, Baba said, let's go and see the place. In the meanwhile, the women were resting and sleeping there, and Baba went and saw the place. He liked it immensely. So when he came back, he said to the women, come on, pack up, we have to go to another place. And they were surprised. And so that was the first time when Baba came and...
Wow.
Yeah. So a long saga of Baba's later visits to Guru Prasad. This was the beginning of it.
The germ of it.
Yeah. So the moral of this story, I think, is that every bad thing has a good ending. So that gentleman's refusal to keep his word started this new association with Guru Prasad, and eventually the Maharani of Baroda herself.
What happened with your exam, by the way?
So I think after lunch we'll do.
We're actually full 2 hours have been used up.
Oh my, really?
I'm willing to continue, but we've done 2 hours.